is asking that you all give us the authority to drive Harris County's efforts in the court to oppose any and all election bills that the state passes this legislative session that are harmful to Harris County residents. The current versions of SB 7, as you all know, and other election bills being considered by our state government change the rules for voting. One version permits poll watchers to get close and record voters, eliminates late-hour voting, places inexplicable restrictions on the number of polling machines that can be used at polling sites. And the authors of these laws have been clear that they're aimed at Harris County, which is one of the most diverse counties in our great state. So our county's Office for Elections Administrator, the county's expert on voting matters, has repeatedly stated that these bills are harmful. We've seen initial modeling indicating that removing the extended hours voting options that Harris County leaders made available in 2020 would disproportionately impact Black and brown residents in our county. And early indications are that these bills would decrease the number of polling machines at polling sites in minority neighborhoods. If these provisions are signed into law, Harris County must be involved in the legal battles that will spawn from that. And as you all know, there have been lawsuits filed in Florida and Georgia when the leaders of those states passed similar restrictions. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 protects voters against states changing voting rules in a way that is discriminatory. And our state government has a history of passing those types of discriminatory laws. Several federal courts have determined that previous laws passed by Texas state leaders discriminated on the basis of race. One of the things I've heard defenders of these bills, Judge, argue is that the bills are not discriminatory because they don't explicitly target African Americans or Hispanic people. Well, Representative Kane's purity at the ballot box language aside, that's an antiquated way of assessing whether voting laws are discriminatory. Courts across this country, including the United States Supreme Court, have repeatedly ruled that voting laws that are race neutral on their face can still be discriminatory. That's the view that was taken in 2016 when the Federal Court of Appeals that covers Texas determined that Texas' proposed voter ID law, which made no mention of race, was still racially discriminatory. That's the view that another appellate court took that same year when it found that certain race-neutral voting laws in another state targeted African Americans with almost surgical precision. That's a quote from the court. And that's the view that we, as elected officials for Harris County, should take when we scrutinize SB 7 and the other voting bills that are being considered by our state government right now. So my office is asking that we have authorization to file lawsuits in front of the court briefs and any subsequent litigation that comes as these bills make their way through the legislative process, if they are indeed passed. With that, I'll turn it over, and I'm happy to answer any questions.